Today I'm at my buddy Larry's palatial country estate, and he's the fellow who gave me the Honda generator that I featured in a couple of videos on installing a transfer switch a while back. And if you saw that video, you'll know I made fun of him because he gave me the generator because he said, I have a Tesla Powerwall. And then, of course, later he wrote me and said, I have two Tesla Powerwalls. But the reason we're here today is because he's a dirty damn hippie. He put in a solar system back like 15 years ago. At 2005, he's behind the camera right now. 2007. So originally, all that were here was the solar coming down from the roof through this DC disconnect to this raceway and to these two inverters, and then it went down this pipe way down low here into the house, and that was all that was here. And the reason we're here today is because these inverters are pooping out. Half of them doesn't work. They're two-stage inverters. So he's managed to get a couple of Sunny Boy 6 kilowatt inverters to replace these. And it's a great time to buy inverters, apparently, because the chip shortage. He wanted to order a 5K, which is more than that. These are both 4K. But because of the chip shortage, they sent him a 6K instead because the 5s were back ordered for months. So we really lucked out there. So today we're going to take these down and put those up. But that's not really what I wanted to do this video about, because that's kind of boring. We just take these down, disconnect the wires, and put them back up. What I really wanted to do is kind of just open this up, because I was here last week looking at the system, and it was really interesting, and I hadn't realized how simple and kind of elegant it is. And I thought you might be interested. We'll take the covers off everything, and I'd like to just show you around inside this equipment. So what happened was, so this ran for years, and then in the Solar City days, I guess 2017, 18, something like that, Tesla came by and put these Powerwalls in, and all this junk over here, which is disconnects and the magic Tesla box, and that's the real thing we kind of want to look at. So let me open up all the covers, and we'll go dive in and take a peek. All right, so we pulled the cover off of most things, and you can kind of peek inside here. This probably isn't very interesting, the old inverters and the raceway, and we don't care much about that, except we're going to disconnect these wires and get this out of here. Here's the old solar coming down. In fact, here's the original plaque, which has the original unloaded open circuit voltage and the loaded voltage. We're a little down from that over the years, and Larry says the panels are probably dirty too. This is an old combiner box. I'm sure they don't do it this way anymore. And in fact, the modern inverters let you stick multiple strings into the inverter itself, so they can, tell you when a string is bad or do load balancing in the shade and stuff. But here we're just running them all to 2 strings, one for each inverter, and then these are fuses. So these are all open now to keep me from shocking myself. And we have a little corrosion here because some rain's been coming down the pipe. We're going to clean that up today. So juice from the inverters and juice from the Powerwalls all comes up here to this disconnect box and goes through these backfed breakers. Let's see, the 2 on the bottom are the 2 inverters, and the 2 on the top are the 2 Powerwalls. And so power is either coming out from the microgrid here to the house, or coming in from the utility here to charge the batteries. And then we get to the magic Tesla box, and this is the one we really wanted to see today. We didn't have to open this up today for the project we're doing, but because I love you all so much, and Larry said it was all right, we've done it, and I want to just kind of take a little look inside here. So here inside Tesla's magic box, we've got 3 big areas. We have the gateway, which is the Tesla's brainy computer, and it's connected to Larry's home network with this Cat5 cable. We have this wireless unit up here, which is current monitoring stuff, and that's connected to the brain, and it has a wireless interface too. Unclear completely how that's used, because he's using the wired connection to get into Tesla's app and get data from it. And then we have the bus bar where everything's connected together, and this in the middle here is an actuator that lets the brain here connect and disconnect the photovoltaic and the battery from the grid based on what's going on. And these 2 U-shaped things are the current sensors that let this box know whether grid power is on or off. And in fact, there's a similar one of these coming out of the photovoltaic, out of the Powerwall side. So current from the Powerwall can be monitored and fed into this through this gray cable that comes through here. So when power is on, the juice comes, when the grid is on, power comes in on these old crusty wires. And this pipe here at the bottom is both the input from Larry's meter and the output to his house now through kind of a big, oh, that's bigger than 2 inches. That must be 2.5, 3-inch conduit. And so the grid power comes in here to the top. And then if the power's on, these little sensors go, oh, the juice is on. I better keep this connector closed. And the power comes out here on these lugs. Now there's a technical term I've been reading about called the point of common connection, and I don't know whether it's the whole box or just these lugs, because these lugs are actually where the two systems come together. These smaller wires are, this is leg A and leg B in neutral, going out to Larry's house, and then these bigger wires are the juice coming in either from the inverters or from the batteries or both. It's kind of a neat trick the way this works. These are grid-tied inverters, so they're dumb inverters. They're called what do I say? Grid-following inverters. So it's PG&E, the local utility here, Pacific Gas and Electric, that's making the voltage, that's kind of pushing the current back and forth. And all the inverters are doing is sitting there with a big bucket of charge, probably in a huge capacitor, and kind of dumping it into the flow of current as it goes by, and that means less current is needed, and PG&E has to push a little less hard. When I was young, the Exploratorium used to have this demonstration. I don't know whether they have it anymore, where you would sit at a bicycle and pedal, and you'd be pedaling a generator, and then you'd flip on switches, and as you put on each switch, a light would come on, and it got harder and harder to pedal. And that was the first time I really understood the concept of work, which is the concept of power. And in this case, if you had a Tesla Powerwall helping you pedal that bicycle, it wouldn't be the case that it was also like on your feet helping you pedal, making more voltage. It would be like it was making the generator more efficient. It was pouring more water in on your behalf so that you didn't have to pedal as hard. Anyway, that's my dumb explanation of all that. So the interesting thing that happens is, bang, the power goes off. Something's got to happen really fast. And I think I read it in the Powerwall manual, within 30 cycles at 60 hertz, this detects the power has gone off, and this computer here goes, oh gosh, we've lost grid power. We better get ready. So it sends a signal to the Powerwall and says, hey Powerwall, get ready to go from grid following, which it's been doing, to grid creating. So the Tesla Powerwall switches modes and starts generating the voltage to run the show here. And once the Tesla comes up to speed, this opens and disconnects the grid, and now we're completely isolated from the public utility lines, and the linemen can work and not get killed, and juice is coming in from the batteries and going out to Larry's house. And then that, of course, that's reversed when the power comes back on. What we don't see is a wire going from this to the Powerwall, so I don't know how this tells the Powerwalls to get ready and become a grid, creating instead of grid following. So maybe some of you can tell me, is it on the wireless here, or are they talking, are they modulating the DC, not the DC line, are they modulating some communication on this line, on the power line to do that? That'd be nice to know. So that's all I want to show you. We've got inverters to change, so we're going to go do that now. So something I recently heard is that if you want Tesla to come out and add Powerwalls to your existing solar system now, instead of a few years ago, like when Larry had this done, they're not doing it. The only way you can get a Powerwall is if you buy Tesla's solar panels along with the Powerwall. And it's unclear if they're doing this because there's a solar panel shortage and they're having trouble getting the units, or if they're just being dicks and want to make more money. So these 2021 Sunny Boy inverters come in two parts. That bottom part under the black cover is the connection module. That's where all the wires plug in. And the upper part's the power module. So what you do is you take the connection module and you mount it to the wall like a shelf bracket, and the power module props on top of it. I'm using an extension to get to the 4 bolts that hold the two halves together. Otherwise, the fat body of the impact driver would have made me come in at an angle and strip the head off the screws. So SMA, the German company that makes these Sunny Boy inverters, gives you a layout template that goes down to the 1/4 of a millimeter. It's a ridiculous amount of useless accuracy, although it is comforting in some way. But I do have a confession to make that even with that, I didn't take into account the lap on these walls, so that when I torqued the box down for the first time, it tilted it backwards, and then the power unit wouldn't sit flush on the top. So I had to back out the screws a little bit to get it to hang straight, and then we wound up shimming between the flange and the wall with some washers. Came out okay in the end, but you know, took an extra hour of fiddling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's commissioning time, which is a fancy way of saying turning it on. My assistant is reading to me the important steps.
We're going to go to step number 1.
1.
Lead the enclosure lid to the connection unit and plug the ribbon cable into the socket on the communication assembly.
Okay, I think it's display. It's this one.
Would you like to see the picture?
No.
You're headed.
What could possibly go wrong?
I doubt much.
Am I supposed to take it out of this little bracket, though? That'd give me more length.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
You take all the length you want.
There we go. Display connected.
Ensure that the ribbon cable is securely plugged into the sockets at both ends.
Oh, shit.
That was 2.
Okay. It is.
Listen to your reader.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. There you are.
Oh, I guess that's...
You're already up to 3. Position the enclosure lid of the connection unit on the enclosure and tighten all 6 screws crosswise.
Oh, I see.
You do have 6 screws.
They're Germans.
Crosswise. That's great.
And are these the... Is that the right one? I don't think that's the right size. Damn it! You gonna stay there? Stay there. Don't rip out and don't pull the plug out.
Should I provide a hand?
What could go wrong?
I'm just going to touch it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, much better. I think it's better. Huh. Came out of there. You think it would go back in there?
You would.
Feels all right. Well, but it's not. It's not grabbing. Do I have to be like underneath this thing?
No.
Oh, well, stand by. All right, we're getting it. It just needed to be filled and get the right driver and everything. I'm tightening crosswise. They're also really long. Guess I could be using the impact wrench, but we want to be nice.
You may want to relocate the camera to the other side so we can see
the big on-off switch.
Yeah.
Well, the miracle of editing will make it look like things are happening.
All right.
You YouTube people understand that, don't you? Okay. What's it? What else? Okay, I tighten crosswise.
That's right. We're up to step 4. Turn the DC load break switch of the inverter to position I.
Oh, well, before we do that, it wants power. I'm going to connect the...
second one?
I'm going to connect the fuses in the combiner box. I've been looking at this label. It says all terminals are energized. Well, they're not all energized. Only these top ones are energized. We're doing the left inverter, so we'll just do push the left fuses in. And now, in theory, power is going to the inverter. Oh, look.
Lights.
There's lights and stuff.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Ooh. All right, the Germans. I'm impressed. Now what do we do?
Switch on the AC circuit breaker.
Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun
Listen to
dun.
this. We see all 3 LED lights up and the display is illuminated. The startup phase begins. After approximately 90 seconds, all 3 LEDs will go out again. And the display will show a succession of different messages.
Exciting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Depending on the available power, the green LED pulses or is continuously illuminated. The inverter is feeding in.
Well,
This is the 90-second.
is this the 90-second?
Wait.
Well, we'll speed it up.
Well, of course. Of course. It's not arcing.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to that.
Ooh, it's testing things, clicking inside. Computers are sensing.
Wheels are spinning. Ah, lights out.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
The inverter is feeding in.
Green means go around the world, feeding in, sucking delicious PV. Of course, it's late in the afternoon now, so I don't know how much PV we actually have. Oh,
Okay.
package 2016 software. That was a good gear for. This has been sitting around the warehouse. Oh, there's our serial number.
Okay.
Maybe I'll hide that.
We have that in the book. Yeah, let's not go there.
We'll blur that out.
This appears to be the book for the other one.
Well, you gonna make some juice or what?
Is it not okay? No?
Yeah, he's complaining that there's no comm connected of any kind, but.
We can think of that.
Ooh, look at this. 9 amps, 224 volts. That's a little low. We usually measure about 250 loaded, but it's late in the day.
Yeah.
DC current, no amps? Is that what that is? I don't know. DCC. Making 8 amps of AC, maybe? I don't know.
Looks right.
I know. A little bit of amperage for you.
Let's see if the test.
Larry's checking his Tesla app now to
Yeah.
see if the gateway is picking it up.
Well, the power walls are once again charging. That's the first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Look.
Oh, let's
So
show the audience at home. Here, you can look in the camera as
we're
you're
getting 2
Oh,
kilowatts.
it's a little over to the
That
side.
is
There.
pretty silly.
All right, the Tesla gateway has picked it up.
2 kilowatts coming out, and they're going straight to the power walls because the power walls are down to about 34% right now.
Okay, well, I was hoping for a spectacular fire, but it wasn't. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Not today.
And then we'll configure the other one. Oh, Sunny Boy, the sun is calling, and I'm sorry about that. Look, they're working, and we're done. And they light up if you tap it. We're still trying to figure out how this works. They're making power. Of course, it's the end of the day, so we're making very little power, but we are making little power as the sun sets. So I'm sure I'll get a call tomorrow at noon from Larry, and he'll tell me the many bazillions of kilowatts these things are making. But pretty happy. It wasn't too difficult, and now we're done. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. And now I'm going to grab the camera and shove it at the Tesla Powerwall to make a white screen so I can put up the beautiful image of my big head and another video.